What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the Boxing Clinic and more. And do a quick review of Cris Cyborg taking on Holmes. Caught the end of this fight, man. And I was in the middle of a Madden game. I was like, man, let me see what's going on, because UFC card is like long, whole bunch of meaningless fights. I'm not a hardcore fan. I'm more of a casual fan of UFC. I just peek my head. I think I'm just not a big fan of it. But anytime two females top the main event, I have to support it. I'm all for equal rights, and I'm all for women's sports. When women competing in sports, and I try to support it when I can, no matter if it's UFC, duck hunting, whatever it is. And for these two women to grace pay-per-view at the helm, I think it's very important that men, women, and everybody else support it and cover it. So Holmes was a boxer or whatever, and Cris Cyborg is just another animal. I seen her spar Clarissa Shields. I think it was a live stream Clarissa Shields put on, and she held her own. She looked very in tune, very flawless with her technique for the most part for somebody that was mixed martial arts. And I must say, before I get into what I've seen, if this fight was in the boxing ring, the result would have been any different. It would have been Cris Cyborg coming on top. Holmes did well. She just didn't go into survival mode. She kept trying to compete from what I've seen. Cyborg will land a good punch. Holmes will land a good punch, but it had no effect on Cyborg. She would mix in that kick and try to mix in the punch combination. It was just, Cyborg, plain and simple, just to cut the time down for most of you guys watching the fight. Cyborg was just too physically fit, too physically strong. Everything physical was in her favor. Holmes didn't go out like no punk. She threw them hands, she landed. It just didn't have an effect on Cyborg. Cyborg, as hard as her face is, as hard as her chin is, it lives up to expectations. You got people saying that she's a transgender, she's a man. I don't know about none of that. And if she's a woman, like she's classified as, she's the baddest woman on the planet, boxing, mixed martial arts, or whatever. And Holm held her own. She really did. And she didn't go out like McGregor or Ronda Rousey. She finished. She got a lot of heart. She took on this challenge. I'm pretty sure she was compensated nicely. And I was happy to see women, be the main event. I must keep saying that one more time. I was happy to see them embrace the main event and be on a pedestal and the crowd filled up, And I think the energy made Holmes want to go harder and try to go for the upset. It was close, a couple of the scorecards was 1 or 2 points, and but Cyborg was doing the thing. I heard a lot of people complaining about the commentary, how they was favoring Cyborg, and they was comparing it to HBO's biased commentary, and that's what you're gonna get. You're always gonna get the ticket puller and the person with the more potential, especially in combat sports and in boxing and UFC I see now. That's the ticket seller. You know what I'm saying? Holm then had her time to try to be, the Don Dada. She beat Ronda Rousey. And she had her time. And, Cyborg is the ticket puller right now. Of course, they're going to favor her and speak her up. And, Holmes landed a punch. They probably, it didn't have that much effect on Cyborg. And Cyborg landed a punch like, damn, you see that punch Cyborg land? Oh, my God, Holmes here almost fell out. Yeah. That's what you're going to get, and if you're new to combat sports, get used to biased commentary. That's why a lot of the time when I watch boxing and cover boxing, I really watch it with no sound, have my headphones vibing to some music and playing, I can see it seems like it slows down when you watch it with no sound. You can see more of the punch. You don't have anybody clouding your judgment and second guessing what you've seen. But, Holmes held her own, man, for what I've seen. They went 5 strong rounds, and I think a lot of people think Holmes was going to see the 5th round. And if people thought she was going to see the 5th and final round and complete the fight, they thought that she probably would have melted in and went in survival mode. She tried to the end, and Cyborg tried too. She just couldn't crack Holmes, man. And if she would have took any more chances, it was potentially a knockout, or Holmes could have hurt her because she's a vet, in UFC and boxing. But I made the comment saying it would have won the same thing in boxing. I truly believe that. Cyborg is a beast in both worlds, man. I seen her fight Clarissa Shields and hold her own. She wants to cross over to boxing with UFC. You know, UFC and Dana White is getting to boxing. Let her. You know, I would love to see her fight Amanda Nunes. I know Nunes is a bantamweight, and that's a couple weight classes. Well, in boxing it is. It's a nice substantial weight between them. So maybe that can't happen. But she wants to come to boxing and fight some people in boxing around her weight class or try it out. Why not? And I know the UFC don't want to let their fighters try boxing out after they feel like it was going to diminish McGregor's rep, but it didn't. It rose McGregor's rep. You know, he did a good job versus Floyd Mayweather. Did better than expected. The fight was better than expected. And we see what Cris Cyborg can do, but you know, it usually the seats don't feel in women's boxing like it feels in UFC, and that might be the hanging point. But you know, both women put on a great show. Congrats to Cris Cyborg on a great win, and congrats to Holly Holmes, who says she has no interest in going back to boxing, and that's cool. She's happy in MMA, especially when you got support that you got tonight with all those people in the arena, all the people that paid to see you or watched it illegally. I mean, you know, why would you want to go back to something that people didn't want to support? But we gone.